Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Claire Miller. I'm a professional writer, a published author of 4 children's books and a story creator. And today I would like to read to you the second part of my story, which is called The Moment of Truth. The second part is called The Journey Home. And the story is about Jenny and Tom as the main characters. Jenny reads a message which sends her out into space, needing to be alone. Tom rescues her when her spacesuit starts to lose oxygen. Darkness stops her desperate attempts to get away from him. Back on Earth, she needs to decide if she wants to live. Can she ever trust Tom or herself ever again? What will she decide in her moment of truth? I hope you enjoy listening to this. The Journey Home. Fear gripped his heart as Tom guided an unresponsive Jenny towards the open airlock. 2 pairs of hands were waiting to grab her. Anxious faces crowded the window of the closed interior space station door. Was he too late this time? Would Jenny ever wake up? Would she ever talk to him again? Would she let him explain the message? Would he live to regret kissing her at the end of his shift and the beginning of hers? The sound of the air leaving her spacesuit over the communication channel was the sound of his worst nightmare, one he'd hoped never to repeat. Slow your breathing, Tom, the commander said. I know you're scared. The doctor is waiting by the airlock door. All you have to do is get Jenny there. Tom took some calming breaths and concentrated on his approach to the airlock. You're doing great, the commander said. Just a little further. The waiting hands caught Jenny as Tom entered the airlock. Behind him, the outer door closed. Her helmet was quickly removed when the green light went on, indicating oxygen was in the compartment. He watched helpless as the inner door opened and the doctor stepped through the doorway. None of the watching station crew said anything. There was nothing Tom could do to help Jenny. He just wished he'd told her about the faulty suit rather than kissing her at the change of the shift. If he had, she wouldn't be lying unconscious on the floor right now. The commander stepped into the compartment. Doctor, put Jenny in the emergency stasis pod when you've checked her over. I'll contact the space center and tell them Jenny and Tom will be returning to Earth immediately. You'll be accompanying them. Yes, Commander. Tom. Commander was speaking again. Tom's eyes followed Jenny's still form as she was quickly taken away by the doctor. The station crew walked slowly into the space station, exchanging worried looks. Tom. Tom forced himself to look at the commander. You're leaving for Earth as soon as possible. I need you to pack your and Jenny's belongings. Can you do that? It's my fault. I distracted her. I should have told her about the faulty spacesuit. If she dies, listen to me, Tom. Blaming yourself won't help Jenny. I need you to focus. I can have someone else pack up her belongings if you can't do it. No, I'll do it. Tom didn't want anyone to find the little black box. The only person who would see it would be Jenny. If she was alive, wanted to, of course. I'll investigate the circumstances leading to her putting on the faulty suit. Until I have, I don't want you to think about it, the commander continued. It was my message, Tom said to himself in a quiet voice. I'm to blame. You don't know the full sequence of events. I'm ordering you to be there for Jenny until all the facts are known. Do you understand? Tom stared at the commander for a moment, remembering the panicked expression on Jenny's face when he'd got to her outside the space station. The woman he loved was afraid of him. Do you understand, Tom? The commander asked again. Tom nodded, he did, not trusting himself to speak. His heart was in pieces. Good. Be ready to leave when I say so. The commander spoke as Tom walked towards the area where the spacesuits were stored. Doctor, contact me as soon as you can, please. I need to discuss the 2 patients you'll be looking after on your trip back to Earth. The diminishing view of the space station through the spaceship window held Tom's attention for a moment before he returned his gaze to the medical display of the emergency stasis pod. The constant lines of light, a reminder of Jenny's fragile hold-on life. The doctor had told him she would gain consciousness for a short while before being placed in the stasis pod. When asked if she'd wanted to see Tom, she'd closed her eyes without saying a word. All Tom could do was watch the display and hope she'd choose to wake up again when they got back to Earth. He remembered seeing her for the first time at the Space Center. Her ability to put everyone at ease had made him forget how nervous he was to be there. He'd marveled at how confident she was and was amazed when she began to show signs of wanting to be more than just friends. Her previous relationship had broken down very publicly, so he was careful not to put any pressure on her. The look of appreciation on her face when he'd rescued her after her spacesuit had an air leak on their first mission together was the start of their relationship developing into something much deeper. She was so happy when he showed her the contents of the small black box. The message had changed all of that. The video from the flight director at the space station had taken Tom completely by surprise. He thought as he'd sorted out Carol's and David's financial difficulties before the launch of the mission, he wouldn't hear anything more about them. He'd contacted Carol and David immediately after hearing the good news from the director. The message Jenny had read from Carol had been an answer to Tom's question, when was the happy event happening? Tom had been assured Jenny would be told about him using his financial expertise to help the director's friends, Carol and David. Evidently, she hadn't. Now he may never get a chance to explain the circumstances to her. A tap on his arm brought him out of his thoughts. It was the doctor. You need to rest. Commander's orders. He took a last look at Jenny's face, the only part of her visible through the cover of the pod, wishing he was preparing to say, I do, and have an adventure of a lifetime with Jenny. The doctor touched his arm again. I'm coming, he said, his heart aching. He remembered the commander's words just before the spaceship had left the space station. Do everything the doctor tells you to do. If you don't, I've told the doctor you're to go into one of the ship's stasis pods. You need to be there for Jenny when she wakes up. Tom hoped the commander was right in believing Jenny would wake up. He also hoped the glitches from the solar flares, which were disrupting the transmitting and receiving of the messages to the space station, hadn't changed the course of his life forever. That's the end of that section. I hope you really enjoyed listening to that. If you'd like to know more about my other books, my website is www.clairemillerauthor.co.uk. And I would just like to say thank you very much for watching and listening to this video. Thank you.